Okay. Now let's figure out how to get all that background noise to go away. There we go. Welcome, everybody. Okay, let me get this all set up. I've got my own personal echo. I think I've got it taken care of now, though. Okay, let's mute you. Okay, there we go. So, welcome, everybody. It's Tuesday, it's 2 o'clock, and I actually made it on time this time. Yeah, I know, Sparky. I knew I was muted. I was sort of cursing at the moon for a minute there. I was trying to get all the audios. I had 3 different audios running at the same time, and I couldn't figure out how to make the background music thing go away. And then I realized what it was, so now we're all set up. So anyway, welcome back, everybody, and welcome to another Wednesday afternoon. Today, we've got 2 or 3 things set up. Personally, this week, I have my favorite room in the house. I've got one room we call the music room. It's full of guitars and synthesizers and amplifiers and pianos and all that whatnot. And I decided a few days ago that it just wouldn't do. I had air vents for an air conditioning system that I'd replaced about 3 months ago with a split unit, and the air vents didn't go anywhere. And the wall that had the electricity on it was not the wall that had the television and the amplifiers and the cable boxes and all that on it. So I needed electricity and I needed those air vents to go away. So I spent the last week I spent the last 3 days, I should say. This was my favorite perfect room in the whole house, and obviously it's demolished. And you can see I've got the air vents up here. Those used to be air vents, and this electricity I just ran on this wall. And lucky enough, the air vents had electricity in the room behind it, so I had a wire I could get to pretty easily to add the new electricity. And we patched them up and puttied them, and it was a couple of days because you have to let this stuff dry. When it's this thick, you have to let it dry before you put the next coat on or sand it or anything. And this is it as of about an hour ago. So now I have to clean up 10 pounds of dust and rearrange the music room all over again and get it the way I like it. So that's been my day for most of the day. I see Michael Roberts says it's early. No, I'm actually at 2 o'clock this time. I actually made it on time. So let's see who we've got. We got Sparky. Hey, Sparky. He's saying good evening. And DNR, real nice guy. He actually was considering letting go of his page for a minute there, but I think he's changed his mind. He's going to hang with us. And Dirt Rider. I love having Dirt Rider in the house. He's making suggestions of time, saying I should maybe move it an hour earlier. Now, eventually, I'm going to move it over to a weekend day. I just don't want to step on top conkers, so I've got to find a time that works for everybody, that doesn't annoy anybody. Cruiser Mech. Oh, says he's just heading out. Hopefully, he'll be back. And Michael Roberts and Adam Elliott. Okay, so let's open up the basement. And see who wants to come up and join us today. Yeah, Sparky, I'm thinking Sunday too. I really haven't figured it out yet though, because I'm still kind of new to this a little bit. So I need to get good at it before I start looking for anything exciting. Now I do have a name that tool today, and we'll have a couple people up to play with us here. Let me check this real quick. Okay, so who wants to come up and join me on the panel today? I just opened the basement, and at least I think I did. Did I? Yeah, I did. Oh, and I've got something else kind of fun that I've been playing with. I showed Mick, and he kind of got a kick out of it. Now I use DaVinci for my software, to make videos, which is a lot more than I need for this. But you'll note I've got Mick's shop here, and I already showed him this. He thought it was pretty funny. Now this might give me a little audio feedback. But this does have a comedy to it. Now I'm sitting in his shop. And I got the background off of one of his videos. He had just walked out the door, and I just took a screenshot of it and then threw myself in there. And people wonder why I use, you know, software as elaborate as this to do, lawn care videos and lawn equipment videos. And this is why. With a little imagination, you can be any place you want and do anything you want. Okay, let me stop sharing. Oh, I had one person in the basement, and then I threw him away, I think. Certainly didn't mean to. Yeah, Adam, it's what I did is you can see I've got a green screen behind me here, but I've also got one set up in the garage, and I've got a table that I'll work on occasionally that I put in front of the green screen. And that's exactly what I did there. Is if you were to look at it, you can see here, if I hide this one, oops, I don't want, let's disable this clip. It's just his garage. But let's enable that. Let's enable me and disable his. And that's me. I go over to Fusion, and you can see I've wiped the background out. And this is what the actual shot looks like before I did anything. So when you go over to edit, then whatever background you put underneath it, it gives for all appearances like you're actually in that. Yeah, Adam, I've had a couple of people say Sunday so far. And I think that it might be the best time to go. I'm wondering where Wayne is. He's usually first one up here. Yeah, DaVinci's definitely good. And I'll tell you, the free version works almost as good as the paid version. And the only real difference between the two is with the paid version, you get tons of updates, and you get like a couple of other toys that you don't get with the free version. But the one did, of course, being as cheap as I am, I want all the best stuff, but I want to get a deal on everything. So I waited until it was on sale and picked the whole thing up for like $300. And it came with, where's it at? There you go. I'm not focusing for some reason. Anyway, it came with a speed editor keyboard that makes life really nice. You get in the habit of having one hand on it all the time when you're editing. Yeah, it's called DaVinci. I use DaVinci Resolve Studio, but they have DaVinci Resolve also. For making stickers, I use the paint.net because it allows me to do layers and things. And I can save my layers and edit the individual layers later. I don't have to flatten it out. They've got a format they call PDN, which is layered format. And it's pretty nice. It allows you to edit it all later. For the a la carte, for the sticker for it, that's what I used to make it, and it only took about 5 minutes to make the whole thing. And I use it for all of my images. For all, like the image for this live, actually, I made in about 3 minutes flat in paint.net. And the nice thing is it's free. Yeah, paint.net is free. That's the best part. No, it's local software that you use on your local machine, but you download it. You can download it from just about any place. If you search for paint.net, it's all there. Hey, Robert. Yep. Think things are going pretty well today. It's been a good day. As I was showing everybody earlier, I've been attacking my music room and trying to get it the way I like it. And I've moved walls around and rearranged things to no end. I know in that picture it didn't show it, the picture I showed earlier, but originally the wall had a protrusion that stuck out 10 inches. And so that whole corner is brand new. I put brand new uh, drywall in the whole thing and then retextured it. Oh, give me just 2 shakes here. That was my wife. She says, I don't care if you're live. I'm going to call you anyway. So, guys, help me out here. I need somebody to volunteer to come up here so I don't have to talk to myself all day long. And with 90 of you sitting there, I know a lot of you. I know you're not that bashful. Ah, see, now Adam's got the one excuse that you can't argue with: no camera. I've been down that road. Yeah, I just use a cheap little Logitech camera on top of the computer. And most people don't think about it, especially like when you're making videos. Everybody says, everybody says, you got to have a really good camera to do the videos. Yeah, I've got a really good camera. I went and got, I went and got a Sony camera, not a Sony, a Canon camera, and didn't like it that much. It's okay. I've still got it here someplace. Then I went and got a GoPro 10, but this makes the best videos there are. It is the best. It's plain old. I think it's an S20 or an S21 or whatever. Maybe it's a 21, but it's not the newest shiniest thing. But phone cameras are outstanding for making videos. It's all about the software on the other side of it. Yeah, I hear you, Sparky. I was up at 5:30 this morning doing drywall, but I've got to deal with my wife wherever she is. I get up in her time frame, and she's on the East Coast today. I'm on Central Time, and she's on Eastern Time. So she got up at 5:30, which means I got up at 4:30. So I'm out of the shower by 5. That's a pretty good question, Michael. Michael's saying last couple of years, he has a young man who's on in his years a bit, and he's got a push mower that he can't start because he can't pull it hard enough to start it. Um, you might look at well, what kind of motors it got, Michael? And yeah, it is, Adam. It's definitely the lenses. It's the one I had. I don't think I had quite the right lens on it, but the between the GoPro for close-ups, because I can get it like right over the work, and the phone for my headshots, shall we say. After that, it's all about good lights, and I've got really good lights all over the place. Um, yeah, Michael, above rigs, is it a quantum motor or an EX motor? It's like if you know the model of it, we could probably give a pretty good guess to the motor. Because if it's a quantum motor, well, if it's a quantum motor, if it's an EX motor, then it's all about tune up, get the valves just right, all that. With a quantum flathead motor, and that would be the question. If it's a flathead, no valves. See, that's what color I'm painting the room. If it's a quantum motor, it's GX. Do you know if the motor has a valve cover on it on the front, or is it just a spark plug straight into a finned surface? Because a lot of times when they won't start easy, you'll find rebuild the carburetor, clean the jets to death, make sure they're as clean as possible. And if he's just pulling too slow to start, make sure that the okay, no valve cover, then it's probably a quantum engine. That's even better. Hey, K Paul, the quantum engine's even better because with the quantum engine, that auto choke works magnificently. Now you could tell him, one of your choices is you could tell him to open it up, hold the choke with his finger, and hit it with starter fluid every time, which would make it jump a lot easier. But that's at 88 years old, that's a little bit of work. But make sure that the throttle closes all the way and check it because the quantum motor has a couple of different butterflies on it, one with a larger hole and one with a smaller hole in the butterfly. Make sure he's got the one with the smaller hole because it'll start a little bit easier. I've actually had motors that didn't like to start with the bigger hole in the throttle body, and I switched and all I did was switch the little butterfly on the auto choke, and it started a lot easier. It just made it easier to run. But yeah, he's going to be hard pressed at 88. You might suggest to him it might be time for a motor with an auto start, even. Especially if it's a push motor with a quantum. Quantum's, uh, it's a heavier motor than the EX. That's a lot of motor for him to push around if he's 88 years old. Yeah, but there's no such thing as a cheap battery operated mower, and I don't know if the battery technology is necessarily there yet. They're good. There's no denying that the battery mowers do work, on a smaller yard. But you might even suggest to him if he's got the budget for it, maybe he wants a rider. If he's got a medium or a large yard, tell him maybe a rider wouldn't hurt him any, and you could pick up a used rider for $700 or $800 in good shape, and just have him be very, very, very fussy when he's buying it. Okay, let me look down the list. I know one of you guys wants to come up live with me. As much as I love talking, I like to talk to somebody occasionally and not just myself. I talk to myself all day long in the garage already. Yeah, Adam, we're on the same page. A rider mower wouldn't hurt him any. And now I'm going to be terrible here. I'm don't want to be terrible, but I'm going to be terrible. He doesn't need a brand new rider. If he's 88 years old, he's only got so much time left cutting his own yard anyway. God willing, he outlives all of us, but he's 88. When I'm 88, I surely hope that I'm not cutting my own yard. I'm sure I will be. I'll probably be on some lawnmower I put together myself, but that's beside the point. Sparky says, just shearing me out. Hmm. Don't quite know what that is. But yeah, Michael, you might make him an offer for his mower. If it's in good shape, you could flip it and make a couple of dollars. Yeah. This time of year, even with a quantum motor, even a self-propelled, you can pick up for 50 or $60 and, give him winter money for it. And then you can make a dollar in the spring when the prices go down. Yeah, I agree, K Paul. I don't agree on the string trimmers because although I do have a really big yard with lots of weed eating. I shouldn't say it's not that big, but I've got lots of weed eating to do. And I bought a battery operated weed eater a couple of years back, and the little gas engine when I'm running it is 10 years old, but it runs like a charm. But I thought I'd be progressive and give it a run, and it burned up on the first day. And he told me that I had the string too long and it was overheating the motor. So I told him, "Thank you. Please take it back and give me store credit and I'll go buy something different." Yeah, and Adam, you are right. The batteries are more expensive than the tool half the time. As I hate to admit it, but well, I've got 3 different Milwaukee battery operated tools, and I know I could go with the big battery, but I go with the little 12 volt, the lower amperage battery, only because it's lower profile, and it does mean I've got to charge them more often, but it's got plenty of kick. Even the impact gun runs great. It won't take a car tire off, but it will take a blade off without even slowing down. Hey, Brad. Now, a lot of you guys don't know it, but the gentleman, Brad Bynum, is a guy I worked with for many, many years. And I was actually thinking about you the other day, Brad. I was thinking, we don't talk anymore, and we should. You can tell me about Trump, and I can tell you why Reagan was better. Well, I appreciate it, Sparky. I've got, well, a dozen people. All of them are bashful. Hey, Brad, you got a camera? Here you go. Click the link. Come up and play with us. Yep. Yeah, okay, Paul. I've got a little more than a quarter acre, not a whole lot more. It's right around a third. And that string trimmer just didn't do it for me. Now I will admit I'm guilty of making the string a little bit longer. I took the guard off so because it only had like a 10-inch string or 8-inch string, and I ran it about probably 20% longer. I probably ran it out to a foot, and it burned the motor up almost immediately. It didn't even last one day. So yeah, for you guys that don't know it, Brad was a firm Trump person, and I'm a hardcore Republican, but I couldn't vote for Trump. And the one reason I don't like Trump is he made me vote for a Democrat, and voting for a Democrat just made my heart hurt, but I did it. And this is interesting. I've got 14 people here, and none of them want to come up. Where last week we started out with 7 or 8 people, and all of them wanted to be up. Yeah, Adam, I see you say the Makita batteries are about 80. Can't quite read the symbol. I don't know if that's pounds or euros, but yeah, I use aftermarket batteries across the board in my Milwaukee, and I use the little ones. And I picked up a three pack of the batteries, Chinese knockoffs for, I think I paid $30 for all 3 of them. And you know, you'll get a lot of grief about Chinese tools and everything, but that was about 3 years ago, and they're still running. I think I've lost one of the 3 batteries, so I figure for the price, I'm getting a good deal. Okay, sorry about that. Checking the camera. Um, okay, so when do you guys work with me? We need somebody up here, or I'll just have to rerun banners all over again. Uh, we've got one gentleman. Hello, K. Paul.
Hi.
I was dying over here.
I know. I couldn't leave you hanging.
I know, and it's funny because the last couple of times I've done this, the basement with fewer people in the chat, everybody wanted to be on the stream,
Yeah.
and now it's like, okay, I guess this is the hazards of doing it at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'm totally new to this. I've never ever gone live, and I don't mind. It's such a small crowd. I shouldn't be embarrassed.
Well, yeah, and keep in mind, like everything on the internet, if somebody gives you grief, blow them off.
I just ignore it.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just don't. I I'm not going to live long enough to care. You know,
Now, where are you located?
I'm in Texas, right outside of
Oh, you're.
Dallas.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So Mike the Scavenger is close to you.
Sorry.
Mike the Scavenger.
Hmm.
He's a dumpster diver. He's I think he's south of Dallas. He's and he's the guy I watch on YouTube.
Now
Um,
you know the very first mower I ever got that convinced me to go this direction was something I picked up, and I'm lucky enough to live in a nice enough neighborhood, and somebody put a beautiful lawnmower out on the curb. It was
yep.
spotless. And then when I looked at it, the only thing that was wrong with it was the drive cable was broken.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
I think I paid $13 for a drive cable, and it was spring. I sold it like 2 days later.
Yeah, that's totally easy. I mean, I'm disabled now, but I that's what I want to do right now is what you're doing. I mean, I want to work on small engines. It's so easy. I work on my own cars, and it's really very easy if you just have basic knowledge. I mean, most of the time, 98% of the time, it's a carburetor. It's so easy.
Yeah, I've got my buddy Mick over at Mick's Mowers. I don't know if you were here early enough to see where I put up a video where I was in his shop. I green screened me into his shop. It's because
Yeah, no, I wasn't there.
I've got DaVinci Studio, so I can get away with murder. I can
Yeah,
put myself.
yeah, that's pretty
I
cool.
could do yard equipment on the moon if I wanted to. All
Yeah.
you need is a green screen and the patience to do it.
Well, I subscribed to you over the new year with all those guys. So is that the guy from the UK?
Yeah, yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah.
There's a fair
He had
bunch.
COVID. He had COVID at the time. I'll tell
That's
you what,
Mick.
that was
Yeah,
definitely the worst first live stream to meet everybody.
yeah. And yeah, you can see on those guys have been hanging around together for many years, and some have
Yeah,
actually visited. Like the one Phil, the one you always see up in the upper corner.
yeah,
It was originally Mick's stream, and
yep,
then he just got too busy, and Phil took over.
yep,
And 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 Mick and Mick is just the comedian. He just
yeah.
is, and he's one of those guys who can give you all sorts of grief and make you laugh while he's doing it.
Is Mick the one that always sucking on his uh,
Yeah,
vape?
with slightly less hair than I've got.
Well, I got mine for now, but we'll see.
No, mine. The years are starting to take it away from me.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
the
like, see, I
longer it
got.
is too.
Where's it at? See that one little gray stripe here?
Yeah.
That's been there since I was
Oh
20.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You can see I got no gray hair at all.
Yeah, you shave.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's funny because like 4 or 5 years ago, this whole side was gray and this side was not, and so I
Like
couldn't
my
even
little
grow a
stripe
beard
here.
that winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not even gonna grow a beard this year,
Yeah, I remember
and it's funny.
I was like 22 years old, 23 years old when it started turning gray along there. Just that one little piece.
Yep,
And
yep.
and I talked to friends and everybody, and all the older guys says, "Hmm, you've got hair and you're bitching it's gray." I said, "Okay, you got me there."
Yep,
I
yeah,
said, "Yeah, I figure I probably got 5 years and it'll all fall out, and that'll be it."
yeah, and that's fine. Less to do.
And
Yeah, I've so last
for
summer I bought a bunch of mowers. to kickstart me fixing mowers and selling them, and my wife won't give me the time to fix them.
But the best tool you can have is an ultrasonic. It's
Oh, I-
because you can get one at Harbor Freight. They're actually, I think, $74 right now
that's fine.
for a cheap little ultrasonic. But you think if you buy 3 cheap Chinese carburetors,
Yeah,
it paid for it. Because if
yeah,
you've got the ultrasonic, clean the jets, and there's
yep,
3 kinds of jets you'll find. The kind that are part
yep,
of the screw,
yep,
which is common on the quantum motors. They're part of the screw where you take the screw off the bottom of the bowl, and it's
yeah,
got the holes in the side of the nut that holds the bowl on, and those are the jets. I mean, if you take that screw off, clean it up, put it back on, 99% of the time the engine will start.
yep,
Then you've got the EX motor, which has that white plastic insert in the center of the carburetor that you pop out with
yep,
a screwdriver. And then you've got some of the Hondas and some of the Kohler motors have it where you take the bowl off with a little nut, and then you have to put a screwdriver up the hole that the nut was in to get to the jets, and you unscrew them, and then you hammer at it and wire at it and beg and plead,
yeah,
and they eventually let go. But
yeah,
it's a sleeve that
exactly.
sort of falls out. Yeah,
Yeah, I hope you don't mangle it up.
yeah. Or because when it comes out, most of them some are one piece, but some are two piece, and then it
Okay.
comes out and you can't remember which way the top piece went,
Yeah,
and you have to
that
put
would
it back
suck.
together and start it to figure out which way it went. It's usually
Yeah, and
fat end down.
I'm actually thinking of doing getting a camera just so that way I can, as I'm taking stuff apart, have the camera on my head as I'm doing it. I think that would be wise.
This is better
Um,
than a GoPro.
exactly. I
Now
just
the
don't have a
GoPro is
way to put
better on
my
your
phone on
head.
my head. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah. The
actually
GoPro is
have a
better on your
Honda.
head, but because of the weight of this and the
Yeah,
bulk, you'll bump it into things and everything.
yeah. But one thing I did want to mention, I worked on my neighbor's weed whacker. Pulled teeth with my wife to be able to even do it, but and you'll probably laugh because this is one of the worst jobs I ever took. And I've worked on tons of weed whackers in my day, chainsaws mostly. And it was a Ryobi 4-stroke.
I'm
Yep,
sorry. All I can do
yep,
is apologize. I'm
yep,
sorry.
yep.
That is not where you
And
want to start.
no,
That's the
and
deep end
that's
of the pool.
I haven't worked on weed whackers or 2-stroke anything in 10 years, and then I start with that, and I'm like, oh my god, it has a timing belt, and the timing belt wasn't stretched, it hadn't jumped timing, none of that stuff. The spec valve adjustment, I did that, and everything else, and the truck, it's completely out of whack for what it wanted for intake and exhaust. Completely. 1 point lower for one and 1 point higher for the other. And that's the only way it would run. And the guy wanted it to run without the thing that cuts the line on with a guard.
The
So he
safeguard,
wanted to
yeah.
run, yeah, and you cannot, a 4-stroke, you cannot run, at least that one, you cannot run 2 feet of line
No.
hanging out of the thing. It's a dog. It just falls on its face. But when I put mine because I have a Ryobi electric that I was mentioning, and thank God I did because I was able to play around with his and finally figured out that he wanted to run a commercial head on it without a cutter and to keep the line the same length. And it just was, I was fighting it back and forth. Oh man, what a nightmare. Oh my gosh. I probably have, I don't know, 5 hours into that thing, and I didn't make nothing. I didn't
No.
make I was just doing
No.
it for a neighbor.
Yeah. Brad's asking about his Ryobi chainsaw. Brad, I have 2 chainsaws that I can say I just fell in love with the whole time doing this. One that I saved for myself. It was a Ryobi. Ryobi makes outstanding 2-strokes
Yep.
and complete shit show 4-strokes. Their 4-strokes are the worst. Their 2-strokes have a distinction. Most people don't know that Ryobi did something that everybody else copied later. They were like now first for homeowner level equipment, not first overall, but first for homeowner level equipment is the
Yeah.
Ryobis all have a bearing on both sides of the piston on the crankshaft. the term they use for it is full crank.
Yeah.
Do you know most don't?
Yeah.
The crankshaft actually has one bearing on it and it floats and it's in a little plastic insert on the cover. And
Which
that's it.
crack. Yeah.
Which of course, yeah, tears the cover all to hell sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Ryobi two-stroke weed eaters, great machines. The Ryobi chainsaws, my favorite two chainsaws I've ever had were both Ryobis, and I've had a dozen Steels. Great,
Yeah.
not can't say a bad thing about the Steels. Great
No.
chainsaws, fantastic. But I don't feel bad when I'm at the top of the ladder and can't quite figure out how to safely get down, and I can just go doink and let go of the chainsaw when I know it's a $80 chainsaw.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why like I told my dad, I'm like, just get a Poland. Just whatever. But I will tell him to buy a Ryobi. My chainsaw that I settled with is actually a Husqvarna 455.
Hey, that's the Rancher, right?
Yeah,
That's a beast.
it
That
is.
is a
I mean,
beast.
it's heavy as hell, but I've never had a problem. I removed the spark arrestor out of it, and I'm not going to mod the exhaust like I've done on other people's saws and stuff back in the day. And it does what I want it to do. It's just you're going to get an upper body workout.
Yes. Yeah,
How do
it'll
I?
definitely wear you out. But
Yeah.
that's, if you ever have a forest that's in your way, that's the saw to have. I would take that over
Which
my
one?
Ryobi for a great big heavy job.
Which one?
I would take that Husqvarna over my Ryobi saw for cutting down a forest.
Yeah.
But for me, it's firewood.
It was actually given to me, and I was working on steels and everything else. I was in Tennessee at the time, and a lottery winner from California. I was in an RV park. I was the firewood guy. That's why I got into tuning chainsaws, and he gave it to me because I didn't have a working saw and I needed to clear my sister's driveway, which was like a sixth grade driveway with a bunch of trees that fell from snow that they never get. That was what 2010, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, borrow my saw. It's brand new. I've never even started it." And he ended up, he's like, "Hey, you can have it. I just won the lottery."
Oh yeah, I
How
was
do I see
typing
the?
to Brad. Brad was saying he'd love the 455, but can't justify the price. But me and Brad worked together for years, and he has my phone number and lives around the corner. It's like, yeah, when his saw dies, he can bring it over, and then we'll make a video.
Yeah, yeah, I know, and it was given to me, so I didn't even buy it. But yeah, it's like $450.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's what I
and
like when I get
actually,
steals.
I
Big
don't
money.
know. It was one of you guys that were in the New Year's chat. I watched one of the videos, and it happened to be on a Husqvarna 455 Rancher, and it's the bearing that is for the clutch for that goes on the shaft.
Oh, clutch,
That
yeah,
you need to oil that, or you
yes.
need to grease that rather.
Well,
I don't
when
know
it's
if that.
new,
Well, I mean, either way, I've never done it.
well,
So, but I only have like 30 hours on the thing, so I'm gonna rip that thing apart this summer. Um,
you know how to tell if it needs it.
no,
You will.
oh yeah, it won't run.
Yeah, no. What'll happen is your clutch will start getting noisy and start sticking.
Okay.
And the good news is, if you catch it, mind you, don't spend the
Yeah.
next 2 months running it every day thinking, oh, I'll get to it. But the minute you hear your clutch, I call it chattering.
Yeah.
The
No,
minute
I know
your
what you're
clutch
talking
starts
about.
chattering, oil it and you're done.
Yeah.
And I just bought, well, I don't know if you've seen the videos, but I bought a go-kart and then extended the frame and then put a great big Predator motor on it. It came with a Subaru Robin 4-horse.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that won't do. So I went and bought a Predator motor and put that on it. And then I eliminated the 230, the 2.3 gear down.
Yeah.
So it went from being a great little 12-mile-an-hour fun runaround for a kid to, with the
Yeah.
extended front end, I'm about 5'10". Now my legs fit in it okay. And it goes 25 miles an hour at
Oh my
2,800
gosh.
at 2,800 RPM.
That's it? Oh my
Yeah,
God. Oh,
this motor has a 6,500, I think, RPM red line.
yeah.
And I said, I don't want to go that fast.
No, you're never gonna hit that red line in that.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
gonna die if I get this thing going 60 miles an hour.
you're gonna pop a tire. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, well,
And that,
it's a Manco cart, the kind that came with a
yeah,
little race car body on it.
yeah.
But
So it
once I
looks fast.
extended it, yeah, well, I did when I bought it. The guy traded me for a weed eater. Now the go kart had a blown up engine on it, and the seat was completely rotted away. It looked like death warmed over.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, if you watch the videos, it's in the videos. I
I'm
said,
gonna have to. I've been watching so many prepping videos right now with the war and all that stuff, so I really have not been paying attention to actual good videos like yours.
well, I'll tell you, when I first drove it around, when I first got it running with the 2-to-1 gear and all that in it,
Yeah.
they call it a jack gear, which has a
Yeah.
big and a little to slow you down. And I was going about 12 miles an hour, which was the same as the Robin motor would have done, even though I had twice the torque.
Yeah.
And I ran around and thought, this is nice. And then when I went and took the jack gear out and I ran it around again, I said, oh, thank God I had a video, because I was almost crying. I was laughing so hard, going, ah! Because you're that close to the ground, because it was never intended to go that it's got slicks on it, but it wasn't intended to go
Yeah.
25 miles an hour. And
I
then
gotta watch those videos.
yeah, I went to turn around and then it spun out, and with slicks on concrete, the thing spun out, because I was thinking, it would turn the same way it did at 11 miles an hour because it's got slicks.
Yeah.
No, the forces of nature, sort of slapped me and said, "Stop it!"
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, when I pulled in the driveway, I could hear myself on the camera laughing, and I
Yeah.
even like turned the sound down on me laughing, because I was just crying. I was
It was
laughing so
too
hard. I
loud,
said,
yeah.
"Oh my God, I am too old for this crap. I should not be
Yeah.
having that much fun on a go
Yeah,
kart."
right. See, and I worked on a bunch of go-karts and changed some belts and stupid maintenance stuff and spark plugs and all that when I was in that RV park. You know what most people wanted on their golf carts?
Hmm.
Underglow lighting and a
Yeah.
radio. So
Hey,
I don't
Mark.
know how much underglow lighting. I mean, I still have like a mile of shrink tubing, because you got to shrink tube everything,
Yeah.
to seal everything up, because they don't think about nothing. That they're hitting their nephews and nieces and grandkids and everything are hitting puddles and everything else on purpose. So it's like crazy, but yeah,
Yeah, let's put some more electricity down there when they're hitting
yeah,
puddles.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's always the right answer. More
yeah,
electricity in the water.
yeah. Let's do that. When I've got 36 volt here, yeah, that's great. 24 volt,
Oh
yeah.
God, now you got me thinking, I could really easily go buy $10 worth of LED strips and put a little 9-volt battery under the seat somewhere.
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to tell them. You need a separate battery for this with a separate switch and all that. And they're like, no, just wire it right in. I'm like, okay, all right, Miss Smith.
Yeah, this is a
Okay.
battery operated golf cart, and it's got lots of electricity in there.
Yeah, it's like I'm stringing off a 2 6-volt batteries to get the 12 volt so I can run it like an automotive. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, deep
okay. I
cycle
put
marine,
fuses
right?
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can see the kid coming back after hitting a puddle, and you say, "Was it fun?" He goes, "Yeah."
his hair standing on end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Oh my gosh. The one
That
lady that comes to
that would be
mind,
funny.
she had a flat tire. She had a nail in a tire and she put slime in it and let it sit for like over the winter. And then so when I went to go drive it, it was like so 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 so. So when you mentioned the 25 miles an hour, I'm like, oh my God, that would have shake my teeth loose.
Well, it's got pneumatic tires and everything. It's got real
Yeah,
real tires, and they are
yeah,
slicks.
real one. And that's crazy because you could definitely spin that thing out easy,
Oh,
especially with that
absolutely.
speed.
Well,
Yeah,
and one of the things I did was I lowered the steering rods, because
yep,
on the standard go-kart, the steering rods are in front of you and the gas pedal loops over them.
yeah,
But I wanted to extend the front end so my feet would be over the steering
yeah,
rods, but they're in the way. So what I did was I did the math and measured because it's basically just a rod with a piece of steel welded to the end to steer it. It goes
Yeah.
like this to steer it.
Yeah.
And so I measured and I went down 60%, or I think I did 60%, 60% closer to the actual, to the axis, and then came in 60% on each wheel
Yeah.
where they attach.
Yeah.
Steers exactly like it did, but now the rod is that close to the frame. Well, it's
That's
the
great.
frame I added, so I could have added it any way I wanted.
Yeah, you could have put it anywhere.
Yeah, I could have gone lower, but it just seemed like I was pushing my luck going as far, going 60% in already.
So I've never done this, and I'm actually seeing. Okay, here we go. I can see the chat, but then I can't see you. So I can do one or the other because I don't want to leave anybody out.
Well, now
who
what
might be
what
commenting.
you do is on the upper right-hand side of the chat, you'll see 3 dots
Yeah.
and say pop out chat. Oh, if you're
No,
on a phone,
I'm on a phone.
oh, that won't work.
Yeah, it won't work.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want, since we don't
No,
have a
it's
lot of
fine.
brave
I
people.
just if anybody was commenting, I mean, you're on it, so I mean, I'm not worried about that. But I just.
Yeah, I am watching it sort of out of the corner of my eye. Got to show you this. Now,
Oh wait.
the bald guy that's always like got this humongous cloud around him, Mick, that's his shop, because he made the mistake of filming it like this.
Yeah.
The blower here and this little chainsaw here are the only things that aren't actually in his shop. They're sitting on a table. And so if you watch this, I used green screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you were saying you had that editing software, so.
Yeah, this is DaVinci, and I mean, you can do anything you want with it.
Yeah, I actually got to set up a computer. I have a computer. It's in my entertainment center, so I need to move it because I have 3 kids, so that I don't ever get the TV.
Yeah, I'm looking off to one side because I was staring at a different camera because I had 2 cameras set up because
Yep.
I was trying to I was just setting the table up in the green screen. And I was trying to determine the correct lighting. So I was basically just being a human placeholder in the video. I was saying, okay, do I fit it? How do I look? How do the lights look?
Yep.
Can I see everything? And the question is, are the lights good enough to zoom in?
Oh, and you're the guy. I think I watched a video a while back. You don't like hedge trimmers.
Oh, the finger killers. No.
Yeah, no, I won't even work on them. I won't use them. And I used to do lawn care in Florida. God, a lifetime ago. And I had Mexicans that worked for me and all that stuff. And I would never touch them.
Yeah, a lot of them say, "Hi, I'm Robert."
Exactly. Rock on, dude.
Yeah, you say rock on. He says, "I don't understand." It's like, oh.
Nope. I'm good. I inherited them from when I bought my house, and I'm like, nope. I'll just go out there with just one at a time. I'm not going to use it. So, or I'll pay somebody.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I just had a gentleman like right before the chat. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll get on a few minutes early, and then I had somebody text me, and he says, "Hey, I've got a couple of hedge trimmers."
Oh, I get it. It just, yeah.
I put ads out there saying I want this stuff. I want to buy broken yard equipment, and I make it very clear: broken yard equipment. I basically don't make anything flipping it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for those of you who are wondering, I just finished painting downstairs right before the video. That's why my fingers are blue.
Nice. Good luck painting white over that. If your wife changes her mind. I'm assuming you have a wife.
Yes, very much. Yes.
Yeah.
And she reminds
me. Oh, yeah,
me.
because you were eating food. You had to go and eat food that your wife made that day on the chat.
Yeah. She says, I made food. And I say, okay, I'll be there in a few minutes. She says, no, you'll be there.
Groceries.
You'll be there now. Oh, yeah, and go get groceries. Well, yeah, our kitchen's on the 2nd floor.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to describe, but it's on the 2nd floor. And the kitchen, dining room, my office, I'm sitting in my office now, are all on the 2nd floor right together. And you go down and go through the garage. We're over the garage.
Oh, okay.
So the groceries come up a flight of stairs. and she's made it clear that she's the one that cooks, and I'm the one that carries it all upstairs. There's no
Well,
maybe here.
well,
She
you're
is a
lucky
princess.
because I do the shopping, I do the bringing it in, and most of the time I do the cooking. So yeah, but disabled life.
Yeah. Well, I've actually got, and you'd never know it normally, except if you were to follow me around every day, you'd see I walk in circles a lot because I've got no short-term memory at all.
Yeah, mine's shot too.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
well,
like if I were to talk to you a week after that chat from New Year's, I wouldn't have remembered half of what I remembered now.
yes. Yeah, I try to explain to people it's because it's actually like some sort of weird little brain disease.
Yeah,
And I don't sweat it because it's like, yeah, they keep
yeah.
telling me, oh no, it's terrible, but I get a headache and it's like, it's terrible. Yeah, whatever. This is
I
my
don't
life,
remember, so I don't
Yeah,
remember, so it
exactly.
doesn't matter.
Well, I tell them it's like when the memory went away, it's like everything happened a month ago.
Yep.
It doesn't matter when it happened. It feels like it happened yesterday, feels like it happened a month ago. 10
Yeah.
years ago feels like it happened a month ago, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't. That's part of my disability, but so I've had these. What is it? I can't think of the name of it. So the 3.5 Briggs and the 4-horse Briggs, they have the diaphragm. That's it. I have these diaphragm carburetors I got to
Oh,
redo.
like the
I've never done
McLean's,
them.
those long carburetors.
Well, it's part of the gas tank.
Yes. Yeah, that's the long carburetor.
Yep.
Uh, a couple of things you want to be really careful on. When you take it apart, there's a plastic dip thing that goes into the gas tank.
Yeah.
That's made of solid gold.
Yeah,
When
pretty
you're
much.
buying it,
That's
you're
great.
gonna it's almost as cheap to buy the whole carburetor. They'll charge you $25 for that little stick, that little
Yeah.
plastic tube. And they're really hard to get on. You got to heat gun them on. They're humongous pain in the butt.
Yeah.
There's a screw in the side of the carburetor that covers up your jet.
Okay.
Turn it all the way in and count before, and don't force it. Treat it like a jet, gentle
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
gentle out.
Exactly.
Treat it like a
Yep.
two-stroke jet because it's basically a two-stroke carburetor, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
But yeah, so you want to. Oh, we got Adam says,
Hey.
"Oh hell, why not?" But
Oh yeah. There you go.
yeah, treat that, and when you unscrew it, then the jet will come out and clean that up real good. And the diaphragm, easily peasily. It's like all
Oh
the
yeah.
old 3 and 4 horse McLeans all have that same flipping
Yeah.
diaphragm carburetor.
Yeah.
I got good at it because I found out how much they are new. Ah!
Yeah. No kidding. Well, I mean, even the I forget the name. Those auto choke Briggs. Those carburetors are $90 for
Yeah,
an
but the
actual
after,
Briggs.
but you'll never replace one though. Clean up
No,
the
and that's
jets
the
and they're
thing.
good to go every time.
Exactly. You change the needle on the seat and you're good to go. And I mean, I so three neighbors, three houses down from me. The guy was like, "Oh yeah, I changed a carburetor," and I'm like, "Well, where's your old one?" He's like, "Oh, I threw it away." I'm like, "Well, then throw your mower away."
Yeah.
Like you
Let's
had an
give
original Briggs carburetor. All you gotta do is rebuild it.
let's give Adam a chance. So hey Adam, sorry about that. You caught us in the middle of something.
All right, Bill. I'm new to all this live, so I've put my tablet on and I'm gonna get a try.
The guys that are new to it are by far and wide my favorite ones. It's fun to have the guys, like Wayne will come up sometimes and he's an old hat, he knows exactly what he's doing, where he's going with it. But it's a lot more fun when you're playing it by ear. Okay, now we don't have nearly as many people as we had in the chat, but I've got a little game for us to play. I don't know if you guys are aware of the Name That Tool game.
Yeah, go on.
Now, Brad,
Nope.
if you're still with us, you're not allowed to say a word because Brad knows what it is. And that would be cheating. Now, this is a tool I use every day. I'll give you a heads up before we show the picture. It's a tool I use every day. I consider it a standard part of my workbench. However, I made this one myself. You can buy them in the store. Everybody should own one. And Well, let's show the picture. And that's no help at all for what it is. But I use this every day on every job. It is not mower specific. That is also the worst angle to figure it out. But I showed the whole tool.
Something to do with exhaust fumes.
That's a good guess. It's not even close,
Right.
but it's a good guess.
I didn't even got a clue.
Yeah, you know, it's got a button and a light and something sticking out the other end.
Yeah.
And just as a FYI,
I'm gonna leave.
I've got
I'm
it
gonna
right
leave
here.
that one alone. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Now, when you see what it is, if you don't have one, you'll want one, and it's cheap.
Spark plug checker.
No, but that could be, but no, it's not a spark plug checker. Now, mind you, it works for every single motor. It also works with electric motors and dishwashers. I use it on. I carry it with me for every single project I do, no matter what it is. If I'm hanging drywall, I use this. That's a hint.
Hanging drywall. Now you really got me screwed. Excuse my language.
And you saw just for scale, it's not that big.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit bigger than my head. It's probably this big on my head. That's a tough one, huh?
Is it a bit like a light for looking down a cylinder or something like that?
Oh, like a borescope or something. No, this is 100% handmade. I'm pretty good, but I can't make a camera. I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah, right.
Yes, Michael, it is battery powered. Hence the button and
Obviously,
the light.
it's got a light.
The battery at least runs the light, if nothing else. But yes, the button,
exactly.
It does not work until you press the button.
So what would it do? I mean, a continuity tester, but no. I mean, there's not a meter.
The button is at the top so that I can hit it with my thumb easily, if that helps.
Yeah, no, I know that.
So, and I'm right-handed, so I would hold it in my right hand.
And it's not to test spark plugs.
It is not to test spark plugs. And that's a good guess, though. Adam's come up with a couple of really good guesses.
Yeah, Adam, you really have.
And you use it on every engine.
I use it on every project.
So, and
project or engine.
Drywall.
And yeah, even when I'm hanging drywall, and there are occasions where I'm not doing anything, but I think, oh, I know what I need, and I go get this because I think, oh, this will come in handy for that too. It's so ridiculously helpful, you wouldn't believe it.
I mean, it's not like a moisture tester because, you know.
No, it doesn't check for electric. That's a good guess, though. Michael asked if it checked for electricity.
Okay.
Is it to put like damp tools in? It's got an element in it, and it keeps things dry. If you know what I mean. Like when you're painting, you could put it on.
Like a dehumidifier of sorts.
Well, in a sort, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a really good guess, but no.
Was it?
Okay, I'll give you another hint. It does not take in or let out any fumes or any air or anything.
Is there a motor in it?
There is not. Not in the conventional sense.
Got it. Well, electric anyway, but yeah.
Okay, it has no moving parts.
Wow.
And I use it on every project. I was putting a new thermostat in the refrigerator, and I had to go get this. I had to go get it because I had a problem that it could fix.
Oh, I know what it is.
What's that?
I think. Is it?
Now, it's homemade.
What?
Just keep in mind, it is homemade. I made this myself because I needed something like that.
Yeah. Is it like a suction hole type of thing? So you can put it on a wall and press button and it keeps some suction and keeps it in place.
That's a good one. It's not even close, though.
Well, you Bill.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Yeah. Grass cutter Palmer is asking if it's a switch. It has a switch on the top. As you can see, the little black thing to the left of the light is a push button. It's a momentary switch.
And the light would tell you that it's operating, obviously.
The light tells you it's operating. However, there are no moving parts.
It doesn't smell or sniff or emit.
It does not
anything.
smell it. Yeah, it does not exchange fumes in any way. Because that's actually a good point. Because if you had, like, if you were looking for carbon monoxide or something, you wouldn't have any moving parts.
Yeah.
But that would be indeed a good box to do that with.
Yeah.
But I bought the box from Fry's. You know, God rest their soul. I miss them for this project.
And
another
it is
hint.
Made.
My kid took it to school, and all his buddies and teacher thought it was really cool. It is. You could drop it off the roof and it wouldn't hurt it.
Oh my gosh, I have no clue.
No, it's not a torch. That's a good question too. That would be cool. Actually, I put an electric torch, put butane in it. That might be the next project box. That's a good one.
Yeah, right. Heat up those stubborn bolts.
Now, I carried this into the office one day to show Brad. That's why I said he's not allowed to guess because he knows what it is. And he just went, huh, when he looked at it.
How do I get back to the, there we go.
That's a pretty good one, huh? Well, they have named that tool all the time. And I thought, you know something? I've got a tool that a lot of people have. You own some version of this tool. Everybody owns some version of this tool or something that does what this tool does. This one's just got a button.
Can you get them without that button then, Bill?
Sorry?
Can you get them without the button?
99.99% of them come without the button.
Oh, that might make it.
Or the battery.
But it doesn't test for electricity.
But it does not test for electricity. Well, technically, your finger can test for electricity.
Because I have one of those. There's no button or nothing. You just put it and it lights up. But
yes,
it's not that.
It's not that, though. It does not test for electricity.
Does it magnify something?
Adam, you missed, but you were so flipping close you wouldn't believe it. You're going to bang your head on the wall when you see what it is.
Is it like a two-way mirror or some of that nature?
It is not. No, think about the words you used the first time. You are so close you wouldn't believe it, and you're a mile off at the same time. So you want to go ahead and see what it is?
Yep.
Go on.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera down to the desk and turn it on. You can see I've got it here.
It's a flashlight.
It is not a flashlight. You notice? Well, you can't notice, but it's got tape over it.
Yeah.
Because it's homemade. So I'm going to turn the camera straight down to the desk. Actually, no, I'm going to do it in front of me because
it won't focus.
I've got the blur option on. Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, we'll leave it here. Okay, this is a 2016 battery. It's actually the battery out of my clicker that controls my camera, but I needed something to test to show what this does with it. Okay, so you take the battery and you take this. Let me see if I can turn the blur off real quick. There we go. So let's go full screen. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Okay, you see the battery in my hand? And you see this? It's an insanely strong electric magnet.
It's an electric magnet. You know what? I have to say, Adam, I think you really had it.
When you said magnify, it was like, oh, Adam, you're so close. Yeah. You're so close.
I think you really had it. I think
it's engineering, man.
Well, I needed something like that, because you always drop things behind things when you're doing, and when you're doing drywall, you drop screws. Yep. This basically makes your hand longer.
It's fantastic.
But yeah, it's basically magnet wire wrapped around. Where's it at? A 6-inch bolt.
Yeah.
And then the bolt is bolted on the inside, but it's threaded into the box, and then got a nut on the inside holding it tight.
Yeah.
And you can't see it, but it's got a tiny little nut here holding it on too. And then it's just literally layers of tape and layers of magnet wire going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and a 9-volt battery inside.
So it's basically just a winding.
It's just a winding, yeah. Magnet wire has a little bit of resistance in it. And the reason it has a light, for people who aren't big on electricity, the reason it's got a light is the LED light has virtually no resistance, but it's got the tiniest little bit of resistance.
Correct.
And without the light, when I push the button, it would become a smoke show. You need you can't connect the ends of the battery directly to each other with wire, which is what you're doing. You need some resistance. You need some sort of resistance in the line, or you'll blow up the battery.
Yeah,
the LED is only there for resistance.
Yeah, I mean, it'll heat it up and then it'll blow. But yeah, and speaking of batteries, I have been ripping apart laptop batteries and drill pack batteries for years to get the 18650s out of them, and all this yard equipment. When the batteries go bad, it's only 1 or 2 cells that go bad. All the rest of it's still good. That's why they want you to recycle the batteries. You can sell those online. Even if it's dead, you can sell them. I'll take them. If people want to mail them to me, go ahead. But you take 100 bad cells and put them together and make a battery, that's 1 kilowatt of power.
Really?
Easily. Oh, yeah.
With bad cells?
No, the good cell.
Oh, well, you said if you take 100 bad cells.
Well, no. Well, so you rip apart the battery pack, and then now, mind you have to be very safe on doing that because it could catch fire, and lithium fires are really bad, moisture sensitive and all that. But anyway, no, but like a drill pack battery has 4 cells, and only 1 cell went bad. So your battery pack is only limited to that bad cell. So once you take that bad cell out, you can take the other 3. You charge them, discharge them, and test them. I use several different means to do it, and they're good cells. I mean, I put them in my flashlights. I have battle lanterns and stuff like that I use, and I just pop them in there and use them. But I've made a battery with them, and it's pretty cool stuff. And you can learn all that stuff on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't quite know what got me going the YouTube direction originally.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this for, a touch over a year now. It's been just that much over a year that I've been, I've had the channel going. I started a year ago, November, and completely floundered and had no direction until about, I'd say, March or April. And then I found my direction and just kept going this direction, And as I said, the one lawnmower I mentioned that I'd found on the curb with nothing but a broken cable, that sort of gave me my direction. If you watch my very first video, you'll see I went from, I didn't want to be in the camera, didn't own a microphone. I'm going to do this. I'm going to point to camera, edit, and that's the whole video. And it was, and my little brother said, I've got one critique for you. Outside of the fact that you didn't say a word and you didn't get on the camera at all. He says, one critique. I said, what's that? And he says, you changed a blade on an edger and put 3 blades in the place of 1, and you did it, and the whole video was 59 seconds long. Nobody works with tools that fast. You got to slow down. And I went and watched the video, and he says, yeah, you're using battery tools and air tools and going zing, 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 zing. He says, in slow motion, it's a really good video. In full motion, that's terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good advice, because I'm actually thinking of doing some YouTube stuff. I've been working on cars for years, and you know, I'm like, hey, you know, maybe I should do some videos about this stuff, that people don't have this type of issue on the internet that I'm Googling. That would be a good thing to put out there, but I just don't even know where to start.
Well, I tell you, I had some of the guys with big channels gave me good advice. Like I said, right around March, April of last year. I mean, it's like now I'm pushing 1,000 subscribers, but then March or April of last year, I had 14 total.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah. Well, and what's the magic number? 5,000, and then
1,
you can start being monetized.
Yeah, I need 53 subscribers, guys. Help me out here. Tell your buddies, please subscribe.
Yeah, let's share him on our Facebooks if you have them. I don't ever go on there, but
you know, I don't have Facebook.
Yeah, and that's another avenue too to get your name out there. But I know a lot of YouTubers, and I actually I email back and forth with quite a few on different things. You need to do a lot of shorts.
I need your help.
Now, yeah,
I have a family emergency, so I have to go. I gotta go.
Oh, okay.
See you later,
Thank you
Paul.
so much.
Well, thanks for
Have a
coming.
good day.
Hopefully we see you next Wednesday.
Yep, definitely.
Okay, hope everything's okay.
And then there were 2.
And then there were 2. Yeah, none of these other guys. There's 10 other people hanging around.
Well, I'll be honest with you. That's the only reason I've come up tonight, because I'm not one for all these videos and that. But I managed to get my tablet out and thought, well, I'll get a go. There's only like 7 in when I come in.
Yeah.
And take it from there.
Yeah, and what's the very worst that can happen?
I look an idiot.
Rich and famous. We all look like idiots in our day-to-day life. I stopped caring if people thought I looked stupid a long time ago, and I've been a lot happier ever since then, you know?
Well, yeah.
Figure 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, I went and spent all the money for StreamYard and all that, and got set up to do the first live. And I had no idea what I was doing. I pushed the button, and like 12 people jumped on in the first minute. And I'm going, I don't know I don't even know what button to push. And it's like, you know, but I'm going to keep going, you know?
Well, I were on that first stream when you started it, Bill, because you come on late, didn't you?
The second one I came on late. The first one I deleted. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Come on late.
That was the first one that I actually planned. Yeah. And I had it all set up and did all this and that. And then I forgot to push the button that said go live.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you live and learn. And you know, if you don't make mistakes, you're not learning anything.
Well, no.
And if you make mistakes in public, if your ego is this big, it's going to be hard to make a mistake in public. But if you don't let your ego run your life and you can laugh at yourself, then it's okay to make a mistake, because, you know, if you're laughing at yourself, people stop laughing at you and they start laughing with you.
Oh, yeah. When's this 2-stroke engine going on this go-kart?
Oh, you know, 2.
Is that what it is, 2? Have you decided on 2 now?
I've decided on 2. Yeah, I've got all the metal and everything. And I don't know if you were here earlier. I was showing, it's probably a whole new batch from then, but I was showing that my music room, I had air vents that didn't go anywhere because I'd replaced the central air with a split unit. And I didn't have any electricity on the wall that had my TV and, you know, my Xboxes and my cable box and all that. There was no electricity on that wall. So being a guy, I started blowing holes in the drywall. And now I've got electricity on that wall and a cord thing which carries the cords inside the wall and comes back out at the top behind the TV. So you can't see any cords. The TV is just free floating on the wall. And I drywalled over where the vents were. I started Monday and I painted it this morning.
That's not bad.
Yeah, well, it's, of course, you go through and that includes texturing it and letting it dry and putting joint compound on, then putting it on again, then putting it on again, sanding it down. But wait, let me see if I still got the picture. Let me duck you there for a second. Now, this is my favorite room in the house, mind you. It's, anybody that knows me would tell you that I would live in here given a choice and not even go in the rest of the house. And this is what it ended up looking like on Monday. It's a little bit demolished. It's and you can see like a ton of dust on this, and just everything's everywhere. And it's because I had to push this out of the way because this is the wall I was working on. You can see it's got my tripod set up in the corner. But then this is the actual wall. Whoops. Let me get rid of that one. This is the wall I was actually working on. You can see I got my electricity added. I was testing a paint color, and I've got these covered up, but not done yet. And that's what it looks like now.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Yeah, you can see it looks intentional. It looks like I had a plan. But yeah, it was like this along the way. And the color is just this color and this color are a little bit different because I wanted a little bit of an accent. Just for the sake of having a little bit of an accent. Because like I said, that's my favorite room in the house. That's what we call the music room here. It's got the pianos, and I don't think you can see it, but along here you can see all my guitars hanging on the wall up here. And this synthesizer is my deal of the week. Would you believe a neighbor was moving out and was throwing this away? Just throwing it away. It's a Yamaha 625. Is pretty much like an $800 synthesizer, and he was just throwing it away. He just decided he didn't want it anymore.
Can you play it?
Yes.
Huh.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a piano on the other side.
No, I didn't notice.
Yeah, there's a regular piano. The synthesizer is more fun though, because then you can play 80s bebop, 80s pop music on the synthesizer. If you ever decide you want to play like Never Gonna Give You Up or something like that, you need a synthesizer. You get a piano. Yeah, you can play it on the piano, but it doesn't sound right. Like the synthesizer will sound like a piano, but the piano won't sound like a synthesizer.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was little, I was pushed towards the piano a little bit and then ended up pushing myself towards the guitar a little bit. So I changed directions along the way, but you don't forget,
Now, I've never been musical. I'm more into my electronics and stuff like that. Engines and electronics. I've been doing electronics since I was 3.
What kind of electronics?
Any electronics.
So you're probably in tears seeing all that dust on top of all my cute toys, huh?
Well, amps, motherboards, door entry systems, CD players, like you said, any electronics I know, generators, the list goes on. You name it. Resistors, capacitors, diodes, triacs. You name it, I've probably touched it.
Yeah, it's like I'm semi-handy with electronics, but if it's got a spark plug, that's my favorite,
Well, I've done all that. I've done all engines, 'cause years and years ago I were a mechanic. I used to do HGVs, tanks, horse boxes, boats, speedboats, ambulances, motorbikes.
Probably the most ambitious electronic project I ever did was I want to say about 1983 280ZX. And no, I guess mine was in 82 because 1983 was the first year of the digital dash. I went to a junkyard and gave him $100 for the digital dash out of an 83 and wired it into my 82. a car that was never intended for it to have a digital dash. And I probably spent 7 hours with a 50-foot extension cord out in the driveway with a little, one of those old soldering irons, soldering 231 wires, one at a time, crossing electrical systems that weren't intended to match up. And eventually, when we turned it on, one thing, it had, I think, 8 gauges. One didn't work. And it turned out the wires were right. We got them all right the first try, but I had the wrong sender for the temperature.
Right, yeah.
I had to put the sender on from the 83 because the gauge went up to like 240 degrees right out of the box, the second I turned it on. And it turned out it was just the wrong resistance in the sender.
Did you replace it?
Oh yeah, I went back to the junkyard and took the sender off that same car that I took the dashboard out of. I was a kid. I was like 20 years old and on a budget.
I think that's a bit like, this go-kart you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that. When you said I'm going to put 2 engines, I thought I've got to watch that.
Yeah. Well, now I've worked it out, and as it sits now at 2,800 RPM, it goes 25 miles an hour with this gear set. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking the clutches on the weed eaters and welding sprockets to them, so that each weed eater has its own clutch. Because I had to think out how the gearing would work, and I didn't want to run through a big clutch if I could avoid it.
Yeah, but don't you want them running at same time, both engines?
No. Well, think about it now. If they each got their own clutch, each one can freewheel if you let off the gas.
Well, yeah.
So the first run, and then I'll go back to using the jack gear, because if 2,800 RPM carries me at 25 miles an hour, 8,000 RPM on a weed eater is going to go no acceleration whatsoever, but the top end will be highway speed. Because I'll with the weed eater motors, the throwaway motors, I'll run those up to 10,000 RPM for a brief instant. They'll blow up, but I don't care.
I've just done what you've just said. Chucked one away, a little 43cc, and replaced it with a 52cc on a little tiller. Because, like you said, when you look at them and piston goes on, you may as well chuck them in bin for what they cost.
Yeah.
Throw away.
I buy broken weed eaters that need carburetors and whatnot for $5 or $10. And so that's why I figured I'm $5 or $10 plus a carburetor that I'll save. A blown up motor still has a good carburetor on it. I'll save the carburetor, and I'll just leave the gas tanks on them and bolt them up to a plate, and then if I use the clutches on the weed eaters, they can operate independently and both operate the chain at the same time. So everything's going. I've been welding and hammering away, and I've been saving up all the footage and putting it in a video for the gluing it all together. And it is definitely coming. But then I'm gonna make the welding short, because I'm still sort of a rookie welding, and I'm not ready to make welding videos, and I don't want to get beat to death for technique.
What you got a MIG?
I've got a flux.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so kind of a MIG.
Yeah.
But yeah, I decided to go with flux because it has fewer moving parts. And when I talked to buddies about it, he's one guy. I don't know if you get all the TV shows or anything, but we've got one that runs here, one of the TV shows about mechanics and everything. Not going to say his name because, he can buy his own advertising, but he's got his own TV show and it's pretty popular. And he's got a shop right around the corner. And I asked them, he says, "Oh yeah, for our dragster, we used a flux welder to put it together." And I said, "Well, why didn't you use this or that?" And he says, "Why?" I said, "Okay, you got me there. Why?" And he showed me his, $2,000 flux welder, which I don't have. But he says, "Yeah, get a little cheap one and learn how to do it, and you'll decide if you need a bigger one later." He says, "The only problem with a little cheap one is duty time, how long it'll run before you have to let it cool off."
Yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. I mean, I'm after either a MIG or a little arc welder. I can arc weld, I can MIG weld, but I've just never had one. But I've got a deck to repair, and I've been borrowing my mate's arc weld, and I'm like, do I buy a MIG? Do I buy another arc?
I tell you,
It's
that little flux welder, I have fallen in love with that thing.
what
I
ampage
can't
is it?
imagine, huh?
What ampage?
125,
Hmm.
and I very rarely get it past 80.
I'm gonna say you don't usually go up past 80 unless it's
Yeah,
something thick.
yeah, you
Something,
start blowing things up at 80. You
hmm.
know, and just like as you can imagine, I could sit here and lie to you, but there's no reason to. Again, I don't mind making mistakes because that's how I learn. The first two things I welded, I destroyed blowing holes in them.
Hmm. I
But I
think
had scrap metal, so I was practicing.
I think anybody who's learning to weld, that's the very first thing they do. They think, oh, I'll just turn it up a bit, and next thing, holes everywhere, and they go, maybe too high.
My funny thing that I kept doing when I first got it, because now mind you, I went and bought a new helmet, new gloves, a new welder, and all this, and said, okay, I'm going to go weld. And then in the back of my mind, I know enough about electricity to think, I'm creating a dead short on purpose and putting my hands and my face right next to it as close as I can. This can't be a good idea, you know. And then so I was a little bit like this, going, "Oh
Yeah,
dear,"
yeah,
I said, I'm gonna die here. I'm probably gonna die when I push this button." And I got in there and then went, and pulled it away as soon as it sparked. And I did that 10 times. And I finally said, "Okay, I'm gonna turn it up some because it's not sticking for some reason." You know, holding
yeah,
still would have made it. If I'd held still, it would have been fine. But I kept jumping away. And then so what did I get? A bigger spark, and I blew holes in things. And then I kept playing with it, and I turned it down, and then I went and watched videos and went and talked to the guy. And I said, okay, what am I doing wrong? And he handed me his welder. He says, what do you set at? And I said, 70. And he says, okay, let's set this one at 70. He says, you got your gloves? And I said, yep. You got your helmet? I said, yep, I brought them with me. And he says, okay, show me what you're doing, and I'll tell you what you're doing wrong. And he put his helmet on and he watched and he said, you suck. And I said, tell me what I'm doing wrong. And he says, well, it'd be great if you actually held still. He says, you're holding it the right angle, you're holding it the right distance, but you're pulling back the minute it sparks, and you got to stop it. You got to hold still and let it do its job. And then he walked me through a few beads. And after that, it was like, oh, okay. And now if I'm welding something, because I'm not that good at it yet, I take a piece of metal that's similar to what I'm about to weld and put a bead on it to see if I blow it up, and then turn
yeah,
it
yeah,
down until I'm not hurting it. And I'm
yeah,
learning on the fly.
yeah.
It's like
What?
I've got a frame. Well, it's a frame like this for the go-kart motors, and I'm welding it up so I can bolt it where that motor is now and keeping them as low
Right.
as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm still working out all the welding and all the angles and everything, but I'm using like super thin metal on it, and it's sort of catchy because I've got 1/2 inch Schedule 40 steel pipe. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
How big? How big?
It's 1/2 inch,
1/2 inch, 13 mil.
13 millimeter.
Sorry, I'm metric.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. What I've always found is when I first started welding, the problem you've got is just what you've said. People get that arc and then they pull away from it, and that's what causes half your problem. You're spluttering and not being close enough.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a problem getting close enough. I had a problem with not holding still.
All right, you're shaking like.
Yeah, I was flinching because the spark was making me jump. And yeah, Bill Clements asking if I took a class. Yeah, my class was basically having a guy tell me how dumb I was. Yeah, a professional who built dragsters and stuff. And he was telling me what I was doing wrong, and we kept on doing it over and over again until I got it right. And he says, "Okay, keep doing that and stick with it," you know. And I built the mount for my air conditioner out front because I put a split unit in. I wanted to get it off the ground so I don't tear it up with the lawnmower and all that. And I built a rack for it. And I was like, yeah, I sat down. And it's like, huh. And, and in the back of my mind, I remembered his voice saying, there's no such thing as a good welder. There's such thing as a patient welder with a good grinder.
Yeah.
That was what he told me. He says, there's no good welders. There are people that are good with a grinder, and they look like they're good welders. He said, the people you watch on videos did it 10 times to get one right. And he says, nobody is that smooth ever all the time. He said, the last good welder was welding a battleship in World War II. You see, because they did it 12 hours a day, so they got really good at it. And he says there hadn't been anybody with that much experience since.
I've got a trailer and one of the supports went on it, and I bought a new support, but it needed welding onto old bracket, and I was going to weld it up, and my mate says, "No, I'll take it to work." Anyway, getting it back next day, and I said, "Fucking hell, that's good welding." Like, my man's swearing, sorry. And he says, "Oh," he says, we put it on the machine and just press a button now. Sets it all up on a machine, presses a button, and it does perfect weld for you. Perfect strength, thickness at steel.
Yeah, it sounds easy, and it's like I said, it's when I went and bought everything, and I thought, well, no, I'm $500 into this. I am not giving up. I'm damn well going to be a welder before I'm done.
Did you buy a new welder?
Yeah, I bought a new one, but I got a Harbor. I got the middle of the line Harbor Freight one. I know you guys don't have a Harbor Freight, but it's a discount. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's a discount tool store here.
Yeah, I know.
And
Could do with one over here.
You do?
No, we could do with one. Make a fortune.
You could definitely do with one. Yeah, it's like, and of course, this is the pain of being cheap. When I buy something, I always look to see what the price is next week. And just this weekend, I went and bought myself a welding table for other type of work, because I'm getting handy with the welder now. I want a welding table so I don't have to be on the ground. And I'm putting marks all over my driveway welding on the cement, And I went and bought the welding table, and it was $15 off the next day.
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't taken it out of the box.
That rolling like me other week. I went to a place and I wanted I've got an allotment bit of land. I think you've heard about it, grows fruit and veg and stuff. And I wanted a lawnmower for down there. So I went to this recycle place and they wanted 30 quid. I went back 2 days later and bought one at 15 quid. Yeah. Thought, great. I've repaired it. It's down at allotment. I went 3 days later. They got a pound sale on every item a pound. So I walked away with two lawnmowers and a strimmer.
Everybody tells me about scrapyards that do that there, and it just breaks my heart because we've got nothing like that around me that I know of, and I can't find it, and I've looked.
Well, this one I go to, it's everything you've took to tape. They then look at it and see what they can make money on to save on putting in landfill.
Yeah.
And then they sell it off, and once they've hit the target for months, so let's say the target's £2,000. Once they've made £2,000, they then stick a pound sale on for 2 days.
Yeah.
To give money back to public. And there's all sorts there, from mirrors to lamps to computers. But obviously, I only go for lawnmowers and generators and.
Yeah, of course. You go with what you know.
Yeah.
It's. I would love to find some place like that where I can pick stuff up. But I tell you, it's because I've been doing this for almost a year now, 10 months maybe. I've gotten a little network of guys who call me up when they find stuff on curbs.
Yeah.
And they know that if they pick it up and they bring it to me, I'll look. I use my borescope and look inside the cylinder, and if the cylinder is whole, not all torn up, then I'll give them something for it, so they know that I'm lunch money. Yeah.
One of the lads I know, he's a scrap man, collects all scrap.
I tell you, one guy picked up he picked up a rototiller, and I told him, I said, tell you what, this is a different one. I'm going to split it with you because I'm going to make some money on this one. And he says, really? And I said, oh yeah. And I said, this humongous rototiller, 13 horse engine and all that. And then I got it all together, and the thing looked brand new. And it was a $1,500 part. I put it online for $500, which is a lot for a used piece of equipment, but it was a $1,500 part. And he called me a couple days later. He says, well, can you give me a couple hundred now? And I thought about it and said, I'll give you a couple of $100. Sure, why not? Because I figure if I sell it for $300, I still made $100.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, somebody came along and gave me $500 for it. Like within the week,
Well, like I say, one of the lads who's a scrap man, he keeps his eye out for generators or what he picks up from people's that tucked in skips and whatnot, and what's clearing out, house clearances. They'll ring me up and say, have you got have you got room for so and so? I've got two of these or one of them.
Yeah, you see, Bill's saying the go-kart extension came out all right. You know, he saw where I'd extended the front end on the go-kart, and the welds do look pretty slick there, which just shows I'm good at grinding. Yeah.
Good at grinding.
Yeah. So that's what I said. It's like, yeah, that's what I said to that. Even blind squirrels eat.
Did you do a swap with that originally? Is that how you got it?
Well, I did. I picked up a weed eater. Well, I've always got a few weed eaters sitting around because I love two strokes. And that's where I got the motors for the go-karts. I just picked out two that were curve shaft, two cheapos. And I said, these I'm gonna take all the pretty parts off and put them someplace on different ones. So I've got pretty ones, and I'm gonna take these two motors, and they are now go-kart motors, and tore them apart and started welding on them.
Are they same engines then?
Weed eater motors are remarkably close to each other.
Yeah.
Chainsaw motors are even closer. You would be amazed. The 42 and the 38cc chainsaw motors, 90% of them, 90% of the brands, the Ryobi, the Craftsman, the Poulin, all use the same exact motor. It's not close. It's not the same design. It's the same motor. You're only buying a color when you buy a chainsaw. People don't buy it based on reliability or track record. They buy it based on what their buddy said, or they like black, or they like red, or they like yellow.
Yeah. Same engine, just like you said, different color.
Yeah, I had a 20-incher that I replaced the motor on a little while back. And as a 20-incher, I said, okay, here's a couple $100 worth of chainsaw here. And I guess it had a 50cc motor. I want to say it had a 50 or a 52 or something on it. It had a big motor on it. And when I went to order the motor, that same motor cross-referenced to 11 different brands. I didn't even know there were 11 different brands of chainsaws. And people always say, oh, well, I like this better or that better. Now, with weed eaters, there's like 8 different motors. But if you buy the 25cc cheapo or the 23cc cheapo weed eater, all the 25s and the 23s have the same motor in them. When you step up, like the Ryobi has a different motor, but not with their 23cc. For their 25 and up, they've got one of the different ones. But interesting enough, Craftsman just started using the same motor Ryobi uses on theirs. Ryobi's been using the same motor for 15 years now, but other companies are catching on that it doesn't come back. When they sell it, it stays sold.
Yeah, it's quite a reliable engine, you mean?
Yeah. Well, it's the one we mentioned it earlier, the dual crankshaft bearings.
Yeah.
And that's just a bulletproof configuration. You'll never have a piston problem. Now, if you put regular gas in, it's going to burn up just as happy as anything, but it won't shake loose ever. Yeah, and you won't have any fluctuation, which can shake your rings to death. And
have you ever had a two-stroke engine that's got too much compression, or feels like it's got too much compression, like lumpy?
Now, not on a weed eater, but on a chainsaw, you have a compression release. Yeah. And the compression release will help you start it. And if the compression release is stuck, it'll feel like it's got so much compression you can't even pull the cord out.
Well, this one I've ended up changing it. And this one I got were lumping. I thought, oh, piston's probably scored or something. Stripped it down, not wrong with piston, but I replaced it. New crankshaft bearings and seals, rebuilt it, and it's still the same. And I was like, well, that don't make sense. And this one on a strimmer, weed eater, whatever you want to call them. So I'll just change motor on it.
Yeah. I've changed motors a few times, and Michael's asking. He says, "What are you going to do with the go-kart once I'm done?" I bought the Predator motor, and I paid cash for a brand new Predator motor because it had 8+ pounds of torque, and it's just a beast of a motor for a go-kart. The racers just love those Predators. But I intentionally bought the Predator first because that'll give me the motor I can put on it when I sell it. because I'll have an extra motor sitting around after I'm done playing with the 2-strokes.
Yeah.
But I'm figuring at least a couple of configurations of 2-stroke motors before I sell it, because that's just too much fun. And they wind up so much. What they lack in torque, we can make up for in gearing. Because what I'm going to do is put the jack gear back on, so it'll cut the gearing in half from what the Predator's motor's running.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be cutting the torque to a third of what the Predator's got. The combination of 2 motors. So I might have to add a third motor. And I'm going to keep adding motors until it does what I want it to do.
Which is?
Make me scared. Hola, Bruce.
Hello there.
So how's life in Mexico?
Busier than a one-arm paper hanger. It's interesting. We had a trip to 6 different towns yesterday. Am I interrupting something, by the way?
No,
No,
we
you're
were
fine, bro.
we were talking about the go-kart and hanging motors on it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Well, I'm just talking about my weird life down here, so I hope I'm not interrupting.
No. We're talking about our weird lives. We're a weird bunch.
Isn't that right? I know. Sorry, I couldn't make it sooner, bud. Afternoons are, how busy afternoons are down here.
Well, yeah, I know. When you're on vacation, I know. You have to go clear to the beach and clear to the margarita stand and then clear to the pool where all the bikini girls are and then clear back to go get a cold beer.
and every minute is deathly important.
Yes. See, now I go on vacation and I just go like this.
Oh, I've been editing. Can you believe that? But yesterday we went on a tour. I have to tell you this because my video is out on Friday. And there's 6 of us, and we all ended up in this minivan. Not a 12-passenger van, right?
A Mexican six-pack.
And we're Canadians. I'm nobody's around. I'm probably the smallest one of the bunch. And they packed us in there. So it started out as Bruce's shop incredible journey or whatever. And it ended up being called Bruce's shop. What's that word? Anyway, boring journey or something.
Oh, like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You had Bruce's boring journey.
Off of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was my word? Just one second. I gotta find it. It's kind of cute. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Sorry, Bill.
Okay, no worries.
Got it.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, it's. Sorry, I never know what to say when I see Bill C in the chat. Bill Clement. So I always say Bill C.
It's Bruce's incredible mediocre journey. But
yeah, that's pretty good.
So we went to 6 different towns, all of which we've been to before, but our friends have never. Right, and then we went up the coast about an hour, and we stopped about an hour in each town, had a adult beverage, or checked the beach out and everything. And then at the end of the video, I pulled up Google Maps and I brought out each town to where we were, so that if anybody's watching the video a year from now, they can get an idea where we are. So
yeah.
And it took a lot of editing because I did a little snapshot of each town, except the last one because it was getting dark. And I added that as I was going through the trip on the map. It took a lot of work.
Now, if you, with Google Maps, it's, if you add yourself as a, if you, like, say, you're going to town A.
Yeah.
If you do a Google map to town A and then hit start, it'll go in your timeline.
Oh.
And then when they send you the email and you look at it and it says last year or 5 years ago today, then you'll see that timeline and say, oh, I remember going to those 3 towns that day.
That was way too much technology for me. I just did a snapshot and inserted it.
Yeah, see, I added, well, that would add it to your timeline too, though.
Yeah.
I always just Google map everywhere I go.
So.
And it's like, I'll Google map. If I hit a place that say, oh, I have to remember this, I'll Google map like a block away from me and then say start. And I'll just leave it there for a little while and then turn it off again.
So, Adam, have we met? If we have, I'm sorry.
I've seen you on other people's live chats, and I've
Oh.
followed you on your YouTube.
Okay.
But that's about it.
There's so many people now. I'm trying to remember everybody, and I have to give up.
I've seen you on Conker's stream. I've seen you on Mixed stream.
Oh, okay. Right on. No, you should jump in.
The normal criminals.
I've only popped on here today because I'm not a shy person, but I don't usually do out like this. And we're Bill struggling. Nobody wanted to come up. There were only like 7 or 8 people, and I said, I'll come up.
Yeah, I talked to myself for the first 10 minutes because nobody was coming up.
Oh.
Now I can't get rid of people.
There was plenty of people. There were 10 or 12 people down there. They just weren't coming up. And it was like, okay, you guys are killing me, you know? And then Adam popped up.
Well, thank you,
I had
Adam.
one
for
other guy
saving the
pop
day,
up
buddy.
too.
So
Well, I had to get my homework done first, Bill.
Yeah, well,
And now I'm here. So I just thought I'd stop in and say hello and try and encourage you to keep going, pal, because the first ones aren't easy.
well, yeah, it's lucky enough. I love to hear myself talk.
Well, that's why we're on YouTube. And you know what?
That's why we're
Adam,
on YouTube.
I know you say you're
Well-
shy, Adam, but you know what? Some of us out here in YouTube land are shy, but in a different way. I think our feelings are easily hurt, and we put ourselves out there, and then you get yourself stabbed by somebody.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's like we were saying earlier on, weren't we, Bill? You're thinking about Sundays now to do this live stream. We'll do it twice a week.
Yeah, you can't be bashful. It's well, you saw it's like nobody was coming up, but I had a lot to say. You know?
Yeah. So anyway, Bill, I am going to go down. Everybody's down there. My buddy from kindergarten is still here, and they're all down at the pool, and I haven't even left, and it's 3:45.
It was a drive-by.
So anyway, thanks for being there, Bill.
Okay.
You kind of just
See you later, bro.
And
you're
I don't
helping me
give up that
unlearn a
easy.
little. I'm pretty keyed up.
I'm getting that close to 1,000. I'm 50 away now, or 52, or whatever it is, 53.
We'll have a party.
We'll have to, yeah. It's hey, well, you know how I am for vacations. Everybody
You're
always
gonna
jokes
do-
on the streams. I'm always someplace, you know.
And it's not about the money, but when you get your first deposit for 86 cents, right? Which is just a verification of your banking account.
Yeah.
And then a month or two later, when you get your actual money, it's like, yeah,
No, it's-
$84.
No, I told my wife when I first started, I said I want to make $1. That's all, just $1. And
Do you know-
and
do
she
you know
laughs
my
and she
story?
says, okay, let's see now. We've got 5 tripods, a teleprompter, 3 studio lights.
I said to my wife, when I get enough money made on YouTube, I'm going to buy you a cheeseburger. And she said to me, no shit. She said, you're never going to make enough money on YouTube to buy me a cheeseburger.
So now what, how many have you got? I don't know if you know it, Adam. 40, how
Okay, I
many
got
thousand?
43,000 subscribers and 23 million views. And
God.
it doesn't necessarily pay for this, but it gives us the confidence to come down and not worry about it.
You
Yeah,
got an
yeah.
additional income stream.
Yeah, some income stream. Yeah, it gives us some money.
You know, and this sounds self-defeating, but the truth of the whole thing is, if I made it to 999 and then it stopped for 3 days, because I get 3 or 4 a day.
Yeah.
But if I made it to 999 and it stopped for 3 or 4 days, I would love that moment of 999. You know,
Well, take a picture of it or whatever you do.
I'll
Screenshot.
have to.
Take a screenshot.
I'll have to. The 999 is, for some reason, that's more impressive than 1,000. You
Yeah.
know, just
Bill.
in my head.
Bill runs some kind of competition just to get them to just get you all that 1,000 mark. Give away
Hey,
something.
you know,
I don't know.
I actually discussed having a giveaway when I hit 1,000, and the bad part was I was hoping I was originally thinking it would happen around March or April, like late March, early April.
Yeah.
But then it started to roll up a little bit, and now I think I might be still it might even be still February when it happens.
Yeah, it might be.
But after I hit 1,000, I talked to my wife about this. I said, the first money I make, she says, let me guess, is going to buy the $1,000 worth of equipment that you spent, you know. She says, let's see now. Oh, and $300 for DaVinci Studio, plus the extra keyboards, plus the boom mics and all that. And it's like, I said, nah. I said, if I start making money, I'll probably just buy more stuff and never
No,
actually
you
make
just
any
would have
money.
spent that. No, you would have spent that money anyway.
Nope. It's the first check that comes in is going to buy somebody a backpack blower.
And I did it the opposite way. I haven't spent any of the money, and it's all in a bank account.
Well, no, yeah, but
other money was spent.
Other money was spent. Yeah.
Exactly.
I figured it's when I break 1,000 and make that first dollar, somebody's going to get a backpack blower. On one of these lives, I'm going to have a giveaway and give away a backpack blower.
Wow.
And I'm not going to do it with a contest. I'm going to take all the names, and me and my wife have discussed this at length. The fairest way to do it is I'm going to take all the names in the live and put it in one of the little online wheels.
Yep.
And then give it to somebody else.
Don't pick
let
my
them
name,
spin
Bill,
the
because
wheel.
it'll cost you more than the blower's worth to ship it to me.
Well, no, I'm going to buy it at the store in wherever they are.
Okay.
Like you've got Lowe's,
smart.
so I'll buy it at your Lowe's.
Okay.
And then you just have to go get it.
Well, you got my
So,
curiosity up now, buddy.
Yeah, if you want to avoid winning, you can be in charge of the wheel when it's time to spin the wheel.
Take everybody's name off and just leave mine on. All right.
Yeah, no. It'll be weird if it's like there's Bob Pender and John Pender and Susie Pender and
Yeah, did you know my dad's name was Bob Pender? That just kind of threw me.
Really?
Yeah.
My dad's name was, and you'll love this, it was Robert. He went by Robert, which was his middle name.
Mm.
And now, mind you, this was
Bruce
a long
is my
time
middle
ago.
name. Bruce is my middle name.
No, Robert.
Yeah, no.
So my dad went by Bob, but his first name was actually Melvin.
Oh, Melvin.
And I was
Robert.
thinking if my name was Melvin Robert, I'd go by Bob too.
Well, my name is Lyle Bruce. And my father named me after his best friend. And his best friend said, Don't call him Lyle. God, don't do it. So Dad ended up with Bruce.
You didn't like being called Lyle, or he didn't?
Well, I was in the crib. I had no say.
Oh, yeah, you really didn't have an opinion at that point.
And I think
you know
I'm
what's
a Bruce.
funny?
I'm a Bruce.
You're a Bruce. You grew into the name.
Yeah.
You know, when family and friends and everybody, clear up until I was 30 years old, I was Billy. 100% of the world called me Billy. I could not get them to stop calling me Billy. I would rather them call me Butthead than call me Billy, but they wouldn't stop. I was Billy. That was who I was. And so, and when I go back to Florida, which is where I was raised, everybody calls me Billy. When I go visit family in Indiana, everybody calls me Billy.
That'd be one reason to not go back to Indiana.
Oh, Bruce, before you go, let me see if I still got this on.
Right, I'm going to get off
I'm
anyway.
going to share this and pop this up. Oh, you got to see this. Tell me what's funny here.
Bridget Stratton.
Okay, now notice, I'm sitting here working on things, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually doing I'm doing a lighting test in this. I'm not actually working on anything. I set things up so I could test the lighting.
Okay.
You don't see the funny thing about that?
Is it mirror? Oh, that's good. No, it's not a mirror image. I don't know. Oh, it's mixed shed.
Yes.
Because you don't have a aspen chip plywood shed.
And I don't have those signs, but you can see if you look along the left here, that's what the actual image looks like with the green screen behind me. And then underneath it, I'm green screening. This is multiple cameras. That's one of the cameras.
Yeah.
And then I've got other angles and everything. This was the background I was thinking about using, but then I said, I just hate it. I can't use it sitting at the table. It looks funny. And then I looked at Mick Shed on a video and he walked out and left just the shed. For just that one instant. And I caught the image of just the shed and then popped myself in the middle of it.
Oh, that's like when he catches people's voices. It's like same idea.
Yeah.
Much more technical.
Yeah. Me and Tom were joking about making a video and saying, shh, don't tell Mick. This is what we do when he goes to the bathroom or runs to the store. He forgets to lock his shed, and we both come in here. Yeah. Because I mean, if you watch, you
know
can
what?
see.
I had to look at it. It looked so familiar. It looks so
I
familiar.
am, for all practical purposes, there.
Well, you have a green screen. The rest of the guys are just playing.
Yeah. But
That's
it's because of. It's as good as being there. You would never guess it, would you?
It's as good as a news anchor outfit.
Well, this is the same software they used to make Avengers movies.
Right.
And it's just not that expensive. Well, now they've got the big keyboards, and they've got $20,000 worth of keyboards in front of them that I don't have. I've just got my little bitty my video editing keyboard.
Yeah.
Wait, where's it at? That little guy. Where'd you go?
Oh yeah.
See, I do use that, which is nice. You spend your whole day like this with the hands, because you learn where the buttons are, and it just becomes part of your day,
Well, that was fun, Bill. I got to get down to the pool or my ass is grass.
Now, if you don't get down there soon, your beer will get warm.
Oh, it is warm. There's a lady on the condo board, and whenever she's around, the pool temperature goes up 4 degrees. And that was just that's quite a bit in Celsius, right? And when she's not here, the rest of the condo people don't want to spend the money on the power to heat the pool.
Now, yeah, that's good if that's
people.
the reason they're coming up. But I would worry if there's a lot of kids in the pool and the temperature of the pool goes up, then I'm out.
We call this.
Right, I'm going to get off now. I'll see you later.
We call it
we've
old
been
lady.
a couple hours now.
We call it old lady soup.
See you all later.
Okay, yep. And I'm going to go ahead and break away.
See, Adam, it was fun.
I mean,
I'm glad I stopped in. You made my day, bud.
No. Yeah, you see, Bruce mentioned going and getting a beer, and K. Paul says, "Hey, wait, me too." Well, thanks for visiting, everybody, and we'll see you next Wednesday. And in the meantime, make suggestions for a different time frame, because I'm pretty ready to move it away from the Wednesday middle of the day time frame, and I really haven't figured out where I want to put it yet. So, y'all have a good day. Wait, what do I say in the video? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. That's it.